Hello and welcome to today's NinjaTrader Ecosystem webinar event with Jared Putnam of Trading Supra. My name is Tiffany and I'm a platform representative at NinjaTrader. I'd like to mention that it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity future contracts and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstances and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and can even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the link provided for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember these training webinars are not a solicitation nor recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This webinar is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is a technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to NinjaTrader Brokerage directly at the information provided. The NinjaTrader Ecosystem website is home to hundreds of third-party apps and services all centered around the NinjaTrader platform. With new tools added nearly every day, NinjaTrader Ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find the tools and services you're looking for with a simple keyword search. You'll also find information about upcoming webinars and an on-demand video archive to view event recordings at the link provided. For up-to-date information, be sure to follow NinjaTrader on all social media platforms. NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. To ensure you are on the latest version of NinjaTrader and to pick up a free live data trial, please visit the following link. You can purchase or lease NinjaTrader at the following link. And if you are just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live training on a daily basis. You can view a schedule of weekly webinars at the following link. We're very excited for this unique event in which Jared will demonstrate how to close the gap between you and greater consistency. Thank you for your attendance today, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Jared. Please take it away, Jared.
Thanks so much. I thought I'd tell you briefly. I put this together. This is a culmination of a lot of hard work, and I put this together to close my own gap between what I thought I could do and what I was actually accomplishing. And so after working on a number of aspects of the tool set, and I'll show you all the tools. If you'll stay till the end, you'll be able to see them all in action. But I thought I'd talk about some of the things that maybe aren't as glitzy in terms of what it takes to achieve trading mastery. I know when I started out trading a number of years ago, hello, this is me. When I started out trading a number of years ago, I had success very early on, but then ran into a ton of difficulties. I struggled in all aspects, I believe. Where should I trade? So just finding a location that was worth taking a risk on in order to hope to profit. When to trade was another area that was just very difficult to get right. I would have an area that I thought was great. I'd trade the area, wear it out basically, get stopped out, get worked off, all these different things get shrugged off, and then miss out on the move. And so I thought, okay, I've got the area down, I think, and so then I'd work on timing. And that took a lot of effort as well. Also, you've probably, if you've traded for any length of time, you may have been blindsided by a move. And so what I mean by that is something came out, you weren't aware of it, and away you went. I have had so many trades getting blindsided, for an example, where I'm in the trade. It's between my profit objective and my entry. So I'm looking at a small profit. It comes close to my profit objective, but I think, okay, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to just let this market play through here. This is going to be fine. Totally unaware of potential market moving news, and then get stopped out. Could have made money, didn't, because I wasn't aware of it. So a lot of frustrations have been overcome through a lot of hard work. Here's a little bit, as you can see, I've had the slide up for a minute now. Our history from the beginning. My first trade was in sugar futures off of a paper chart through the telephone to my broker. And so it feels like a whole other time in life. Big difference from where we are today. But that first trade, it was a winning trade. I made a little over $500 on it, if I remember correctly. And that was a big deal. I was 20 years old. And I remember thinking, this is absolutely the business for me. I know I can do this. And like I said, there then followed many, many frustrations. And as a result of all those frustrations, I learned a ton of different aspects of market analysis and how markets work, how people work, etc. And so my areas of practice, I started out, I learned price patterns and Fibonacci applications. I've learned statistical arbitrage, buying one instrument, selling another, trading the difference between the two. I've learned volume price analysis, which was a huge leap for me. It helped me to recognize, very importantly, when a market is bluffing. And so like I talked about a moment ago, the timing issue was greatly helped by that. Another huge leap forward was my study of bid versus ask order flow. So recognizing what enables or prevents a market from moving and how that works and how a move is unlocked, you could say, from a location was another huge part. And so the last portion, the algorithmic applications, that's where I've taken and basically the things that I've learned, I've shown a computer how to execute my thoughts. And so that is that's a little bit of my history. How have I applied what I know? I've traded my own account. I've traded family accounts and done well for other families. Position consultancy. So I've had executives of various levels. Part of their pay package has been in stock options, and I have helped them maximize their position and get more value out of their stock options than maybe they would have gotten without consulting me first. And then also I've worked with many traders and helped them to advance. A lot of people ask me, why would you show someone what's working if it's so great? Why wouldn't you just use it? First of all, I do use it. Second of all, the ability to get fills, I'm not wiping out my business by helping others. And then that's just the start of it. The real joy comes in by seeing someone go from that rock and a hard place frustration level that I was at and seeing them learn how to, okay, here comes a hurdle. Here's how you get over it. And here's how you look back and you see it and you say, wow, I did that. And so there's a big reward in that aspect of life for me as well. And there we go. This is on my desk. This is something I believe in, and I'll tell you how I apply it. Do what you can, where you are with what you have. So obviously, we all have different levels of patience. We have different levels of intelligence. We have different levels of market knowledge, of money, of income, all these different things. But the point I want to drive home is no matter where you are, if you have a small account, you can start trading micros. And if what you're focused on is in fact good, if what you put your energy toward, what you ignore are the right items, you can take a small account and start to build it. And if you have a large account and you're looking to add a whole other aspect or dimension to your operation, you can take whatever you have, if it's a large amount, and go to a whole other level of success if you learn to apply what the market cares about when it cares about it. And that's how I apply that. It's I set my coffee cup on that every morning. It's a coaster. Okay, so 5 steps to day trade mastery. We'll talk about this briefly, and then I'll actually show you the tools in action so you can see what I'm talking about. But these are kind of we've all seen like a picture of an iceberg, and you see the tip of the iceberg. We've all seen that probably. And if the water's clear and you can see this huge amount of mass underneath the surface. And so this is kind of how the qualities and the pillars that support day trade mastery, these are the items kind of beneath the surface of number 5, your profit and loss. And so the profit and loss is really just the tip of the iceberg. And first, when I talk about day trade mastery, that I wrote that down. I wrote down my goals when it was in the late 90s. I had been trading for a brief amount of time, and I wrote down a whole bunch of goals. And one of them was, I want to be a master day trader. And that can be basically whatever you think, but how I view it and what I'm expressing when I say, here's 5 steps to day trade mastery, what I'm saying is, there we go. Sorry, I thought I lost it. 5 steps to day trade mastery. What I'm saying is, are you able to sit down and on a consistent basis each and every day? I thought to myself, if I can make 150, 200 bucks a day on any given day trading, that would be pretty good, because obviously we can multiply in this business. And so if you can do that consistently with, 1 or 2 contracts starting out, or a handful of micro contracts starting out, then you can very easily, with the right steps, build up into multiple contracts. And then all of a sudden your income can be 800 a day or 8,000 a day, whatever your situation might allow. And so that's what I think of when I think of day trade mastery. Is just on any given day, can I sit down and have an expectation, a merited expectation to earn, to win? And so here's some of the things beneath the surface of profit and loss, the other end of the iceberg. Vision. You have to be able to recognize your mark. That is where a deal becomes worth pursuing. So I consider it, I think of it as an inventory business. If you own a car dealership, if someone brings in a trade in, you don't just say, hey, what do you want for it? Oh, okay, XYZ amount, $10,000, here you go. Instead, no, you recognize the characteristics and the particulars of whatever model they're seeking to trade in, and then you put a number on it as the dealer, and you say, this is the most I can pay for it, and that's just the way you run your business. Every car has its own value, and you can apply that across the board to a lot of inventory. But we have to take something similar to that into our trading and recognize this trade is better than or worse than another trade I could make right now, because obviously there's it's a wide open, there's so much freedom. We had a friend of the family, as I was getting older as a teenager, he said, Jared, you're at this point, you just got your first car, you have just enough freedom to go out there and hang yourself. And he was very kind. He was trying to help me appreciate that, hey, just because you might feel like a big shot, you got your own license and you can go to here and go to there and show off with your friends and all this stuff. Remember, don't lose your head with this freedom. And so we want to apply ourselves in our markets the same way. We don't want to just trade because we can. We want to trade when it's a merited, when it's a proven out or a qualifying opportunity. When we have that vision, it reduces the shock factor. So when the market plunges or leaps, much like we've seen today and yesterday, we don't just fall for it and say, oh, I have to sell because it's selling off. I've worked with many traders, and most of their trades had little to no basis, no qualifying factors, just simply because I felt like it or I thought so. Once you can recognize potential, you're in a position to start building skills. You're in a position to start enjoying your existence as a trader. It produces a reduction in fear, an increase in strength. So you're then looking at the market almost as if it works for you, rather than, oh my word, what's it going to do to me today? You can look at it and see where if I were to trade, where would the opportunities lie? Getting to that point opens up a whole new vista of strength as a trader, because you're then in a position to start anticipating scenarios. You're in a position to start anticipating moves, which means, for an example, the other day I was long. The market shrugged me off. So I think I had made my small profit objective. I moved my stop to break even. It came back, stopped me out. Instead of getting mad and feeling like, why is this market against me? Because I have a systematized and a process approach to trading, I was able to continue to focus on, well, what is the market really communicating here? Has it shifted, or is it still communicating what brought me into the position the first time? And so I was able to recognize that not much had changed. It's time to still look for longs. And then I waited until an opportune time came along and an opportune price came along. And that's thinking in probabilities. Under anticipation. That's thinking in terms of not what's the market doing to me. This isn't personal, but it's really what is presented. What's the picture look like right now? When we start to think in terms of probabilities, it helps us avoid big trouble. And what do I mean by big trouble? I mean blowing out your account. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Have you ever blown out your account? If you have, you remember it. I've done it. I've done it more than once. It's been so many years. I couldn't even tell you how long it's been. It's been well over 10 years, easily. Avoiding big trouble is something a lot of traders struggle with. And that's why at some point or another, most have blown out their account. But once you can learn to think in probabilities, you can start to simply just not even, go into that end of the pool, so to speak. This next item, mile markers, is essential to building a profitable approach to trading. It reminds me of when I was younger, I drove from Michigan to California. And I didn't get there as soon as I closed my door and turned my car on. I had to pass a lot of mile markers along the way, make a ton of adjustments, but eventually I saw the Pacific Ocean and it was awesome. And so along the way, though, I knew I had a map. This was long ago. It was before GPS. I had paper maps, and I could tell, okay, great. Now I'm heading through Illinois, and now I'm heading through Minnesota, and on. And I could see my progress along the way. If you systematize and have a process for your trading, you start to pay attention to what matters most. You start to weed out what doesn't matter, and you're able to feel the win before you get to that ultimate goal. You might have an ultimate goal. I want to make $10,000 a month in trading. Well, you have to feel wins before you get there. It's not just going to, like I said, you're not going to close the door to your car and show up at the beach. You've got to drive. And in trading, you've got to take winning steps in order to get a winning profit and loss. And that's the ultimate goal, is to have as few bad losses as possible. So trading out of sync with the market is a bad loss. Trading tone deaf to the current mood of the market, trading unaware of the current structure of the market, that's a bad loss. And when you have a structured approach, you're able to tell the difference between a good loss, which is just simply the market shrugs you off. As we've seen here very recently, the pullbacks have been extra deep only to see a resumption. That happens. Those are not bad losses. You can be positioned correctly and just simply not be able to withstand the amount of risk that the market's putting forward at the time. That's not a bad loss. This gives you so many natural mental efficiencies. When you're not fearful, you weed out so much wasted effort and time, so much wasted energy. And so you ultimately end up with peace of mind. You can rest. You feel good about what you're doing. And that's really the goal. Let me show you not in real time, but a recording of what I'm talking about here. And now I'll be able to see your comments here in just a minute. But I've got Tradulator up top. These rectangles are what I call EdgeMinder. Now, EdgeMinder are my own personal support and resistance zones that I use and have learned, and have put together over many years of effort. Let me just go on with my technical difficulty here real quick. Okay, there we go. Now I see. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. And there we go. And I'll press play. So EdgeMinder, those are zones that I use every day and zones that are part of my routine. I have set my buy line to long with Tradulator at my support zone. So as you can see, a fill just happened. Now this is a recording, but it's a systemized approach where I'm able to see first, where do I even want to get involved? In other words, where does this buy become a good deal? And that's the role of EdgeMinder. It tells you if the market is at a discount or at an overpriced level where selling short would make sense. And so that's the role of EdgeMinder. Tradulator, as you can see, it automatically places your orders once certain order flow triggers happen. And that's a collection of a lot of work, like I said earlier, learning the bid-ask order flow and recognizing what unleashes a market's ability to move, etc. And that's what's programmed into TradeUlator. And you can tell it to buy if the market produces the right sequence of order flow events, and there's multiple scenarios. But it will then execute trades for you, and that accomplishes or gets you past the hurdle of when do I trade? And the timing aspect, like I said earlier, and this is a great example up here at the highs. This is yesterday's high, the blue line, and I'll move a sign there in just a minute. But you could easily give away a ton of money trading and over trading and getting just basically beat up in this zone. But instead, what TradeUlator does is you simply set it, which is what I've done on the screen here. I click the bottom edge of my EdgeMinder resistance zone. And now TradeUlator will simply read the order flow in real time. I don't have to open up a DOM and look at it, which I've done for I don't know how many hours. I used to do all this manually, but eventually moved into the algo end of things. So there you can see TradeUlator just recognize an opportunity where the market has poised itself to sell off, and that's in the context of a resistance zone. And so you can see the 5 steps to day trading success, the day trading mastery. First, recognize where you want to even do your business in the first place, and then from there, use an algorithm to time it. It's a systemized approach. And so the other items which I didn't mention is Supra News. And so what that does is it fetches for you and puts on your screen all financial news that's scheduled for the day, for the session. And you have some control over how it displays and so on, but that's what it does. And those diamonds are there because in the past, it just, you can set it to remove the lines, and I did that so the chart's not as busy, but you can leave it on if you want. But that will tell you each day in the morning when you start your day, here's the upcoming news for the day. So rather than getting blindsided, you can make choices that where you're aware of aware of what's going on. And so that's a brief look at the tool set and a brief conversation about what it takes. Just not only, obviously we want to make money, but how you're going to get there is the big question. And so hopefully that helped answer some of your questions with regard to what can be done. Let me just go back here and we'll just resume. What do we provide at Trading Supra? A few different things. As you could guess probably by how many times I've said it, we provide trading processes. We provide a systematized approach to recognizing opportunity, to timing if and when you act on the opportunity, as well as assistance on how to manage the trade once you're filled. Part of that offer is providing automated software tools. And so like you've seen, it will recognize for you, so you don't have to become an order flow savant in order to benefit from the timing advantages that order flow provides. You can use the software tools that we've made. We provide market application training. So how do you take these tools and how do you use them in real time? And we provide a framework for greater success. And we do that by way of live training. And so what you're able to do is use the tools along with live training Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So for the Eastern time, for the U.S. Open, you're able to sit down and get real-time assistance and guidance. And so there's just an image of today. So this is April 23rd. Here's the news going into today. You can see the huge plunge. You can see support, the market. Lo and behold, the market recognized my level as support today, and you'll find that's very, very often the case. And I do have a back study for March and April up through yesterday. So if you want that, you can go ahead and put your email in, and I can send you images every day, just like this, from March, the first trading day of March. It wasn't the first. I think it was the second or the third. And we can get that report to you, and you can see image after image after image, and it is what it is. It's pre-programmed, it's set, and so whatever that data was for that day, that's how it looks. And so it's enlightening. As a thank you, so we're going to have some questions and answers here in just a moment, but as a thank you, I'm offering to any of you that are interested, and hopefully it's most of you, if not all of you, 30-minute conversation. We're so used to just getting an offer where, hey, buy this. And very often you need to recognize how is this really going to help, or am I just throwing money toward the problem? And so that's the idea behind the 30-minute conversation, is don't just throw money toward a problem. Of course, if you feel like based on this, it's something you want, then go ahead and try it. You can try it at a very nice discounted price. And actually, here's a link if you want that. Oh, wrong button. There we go. But if you want to have a conversation to address your urgent troubles, so here's what matters to me, Jared, and here's why, then I can give you a 30-minute conversation free of charge, which is, I don't usually do. That's now until Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, then go ahead and book a time. Or toll free, you can reach me here and we can have a conversation. And I will drop the link in to book a time as well. But at this point, I'm going to move these slides so don't get dizzy. Sorry. Just wanted to make sure that okay. I think we're all good here. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I know it's been a little bit of a rough techno time here today, but okay, so here's today. And now let's open it up to questions. If you have any. All right, question. What are some good milestones you would use on your journey to mastery? My struggle is knowing whether they are too ambitious or not. A quick, the person who asked that, I'm curious, how long have you been trading? And just generally, I'm not trying to get totally in your business, especially public, but how long you've been trading, and just generally, what's your budget like? And I'm asking only because that will help me be more specific to what you could do. Okay, only trading a couple of months. Okay, great, thanks. And so if you're only trading a couple of months, I would recommend strongly you trade micros, which there's a special offer with NinjaTrader brokerage right now, just a nice little plug. I would trade micros, and I would look for consistently, just look to earn $20 a day trading micros. That's it. And more importantly than the P&L, as you could guess, what prompted your trades? And so if you want to try my system and try the approach and the processes that I've built out over the years, then you can do that. You can measure your performance against the processes that are pre-built and pre-explored. If you want to do your own, then go ahead and build a process and then track your ability to to follow what you, in a cool setting, you think, oh, this is a good idea. But then in the heat of battle, track and see, what did I actually do compared to what I wanted to do? And then you can very easily start orienting yourself to where your problems lie. And you can also start to see what you could do to affect your P&L. Mohammed, thank you for the question. No, there was not an edge-minder resistance zone today. And Shalito, you asked, excuse me, just to get it straight, that green line that you set as support. Okay, this green line, this is pre-programmed. This rectangle is pre-programmed, and I don't draw it, And if for anyone that wants to use these tools, it is broadcast automatically to your screen. You don't have to draw it in. And so you simply turn on your computer in the morning and all of the news, you open NinjaTrader and all of your news and your support and resistance, or one, in like today's case, there was no resistance listed. And you simply get those levels broadcast to your screen automatically. And so here's the web page. I'll just put that in there. I'm not sure if there is a permanent place where I can post that, but I just put a link to the page. Let's see here. Favre, you said, hi, I didn't get it to see the news. Do you have an observation list? Do you watch the news? How do you determine if news is important? These are finance news. As you can see, home sales, jobless claims was before the open, natural gas report. The items that are likely to impact the market are red, and the items less likely to impact the market are green. And that's how it's organized. And then they're labeled, and these labels you can change the size and all that stuff, so you can kind of personalize it. George D, you asked, can this system be used for ES mini futures? Yes, absolutely. That's actually what I have on the screen today. You can use different time frames. Mark, you asked, do you use 3-minute charts only? No, I do not. And you can use other time frames as well. I'm just going through this because a bunch came in all at once, so I'm just trying to see. Let's see here. Okay, Jean Dominique, you said, how do you manage your trade once you enter? There's multiple different ways, but those are all laid out as well. With TradeUlator, you are able to, at the start, when you do set it up, you can tell it in advance, I want my stop to be so many ticks away from my entry. I want my target to be so many ticks beyond my position, whatever that is. And so you're able to work with it in that way. And then, of course, you can move those on the fly. And so you can contact me if you want to just directly. We're so used to messaging and all these other things. I was going to say, if you just want to take the human route and pick up the phone and call me, you can reach me at that toll-free number. I just put it in again. The broadcasts are provided by me. And so it's for those, anyone that subscribes to these tools gets the levels broadcast, gets the news broadcast to your charts every day, and also has full functionality use of Supra TradeUlator, which is an order flow algorithm that recognizes when a market has reached a threshold of activity where it's very likely to move in a given direction. And that's kind of the gist of it. And MP, yes, I'm talking about these tools in particular that function within NinjaTrader 8. I'm not talking about just any NinjaTrader, download it from the NinjaTrader website. It's an add-on. Raymond, you said, what is the green line representing? Represents about 20 years of hard work. And what in particular it represents is where the market will, in my experience, have a difficult time easily shredding through, easily trading through. And so that's what we see here. And like I said, you can't make this up. This is pre-programmed. This is not drawn by me. It is pre-programmed. And then we can see the market came down, huge, massive flash reaction. The bid just dropped out of the market, but for some reason, it recovered very near my support zone, which appeared at 9:33 in the morning. Again, the market came down, tested again, presented a buy opportunity here, bounced decently, did not recover and go on to higher highs, but instead the market eventually relented. But you can see throughout the session how many times this support zone, that is just a product of a lot of my hard work, was relevant to today's trading. Alan, you said how much should be in my micro account to trade one contract? Just contact your broker and find out what current margins they've set. And obviously you only want to trade what you can afford to risk without losing your lifestyle or your financial security. Let's see here. If you have EdgeMinder installed, I don't know why it says from Jared Putnam, but if you have EdgeMinder installed, John, okay, thanks, John. No, it can, I prepare it for multiple markets. And so even if I don't take trades in those markets, if I prepare levels for multiple markets, so you will have, it won't just be one or two markets. It will be the indices, it will be gold, it will be the energies, it will be the currencies, even grains. I come from the old school, so I've traded corn futures, wheat futures, all kinds of things. And so, no, the levels broadcast to I think over 40 markets, but just using ES as an example. And so I'll add the website address here again. I see that's been asked multiple times. And so just there's a link. And I'll also put the phone number in. And that's in chat. Let's see here. Charles, you said I would love to know how to get those news feeds on my chart. That's available through Trading Supra at the link that I just put in. It is an add-on, so it's something you download and it functions inside of NinjaTrader 8. Okay. So it's not showing in chat. Thank you. James, you just said, bro, the info is not showing in chat. That is not cool. Ah, oh my gosh. Here you go. Score. Thank you, James. My fellow bro. Now we're talking. Okay, any other questions either on today's scenario? Awesome, Miguel, thank you. Guys, I'm so sorry about that. It said all and I thought we're all set, but I was sending it to all of the panelists. And so the folks that already have my contact info at NinjaTrader have seen it multiple times. No school like the old school. And so, Chris, you said, what is your email? Here you go. 1 second. And my daughter is going to hear this replay if she can listen to it. She always, she's like, oh, you're such a dad. But this is going to be a huge embarrassment. She's going to listen and go, wow, you are so old. And so let's see here. Raymond, you said your opinion on the best charts for times. Well, I base which time I watch based on my expectation for my trade. And so if I'm looking for, like I had said earlier, if I'm looking for, hey, I'd like to make $100 a contract, then I find the 3-minute periodicity gives the opportunity, it helps me sort my opportunities in a way that I can expect that type of a trade outcome. And so that's, to me, it's really, when I traded looking for bigger moves, I used to, when I traded off of paper charts, I traded on a daily chart. And so in those cases, my risk to reward, I might risk $800 per contract, but I might look to make $3,200 or $2,400, something like that. Sorry if that was loud. And in those cases, then working off of a daily chart, it might take 3, 4, 5 days, and then the market kind of woke up a little bit, and it's remarkable. It behaves almost identically regardless of the periodicity you watch. It really just depends on what expectation you want to to walk away with. If you want to have a big move, I would recommend not trading a 1-minute chart. If you want to have a scalping scenario, I wouldn't wait for opportunities on a 30-minute chart. And so hopefully that helps. George, could you just explain that a little bit more, George? You said the support and resistance is not the standard ? And I too have a question mark. I don't understand, but if you want to spell that out a little bit more, I will pay attention and I will answer you as best I can. Sergio, yes, you can. You asked, does this work with options? You can apply the systematized approach, the processes that I've built, and I have traded a ton of options, my friend, and I can help you with that. So George, if you can spell out the support and resistance before it goes off the screen, that'd be great. John, you said, could you please elaborate? Do I understand your automated system is an algorithm based on order flow? Part of it is, yes. Supra Tradulator recognizes when the market is likely to turn, when the circumstance has shifted in favor of an upward price outcome. And that is arrived at through a huge combination of order flow events. And so that aspect is an algorithm that lives on the order flow side of life. Let's see here. And hopefully, John, that answered your question, I hope. Does this work on NinjaTrader 7? No, it does not. We've moved entirely into NinjaTrader 8. If you're overseas, let me put in my Skype real quick. It's very straightforward. There we go. So you guys can Skype me, just jared.putnam. Let's see here. Mike, thank you. Michael, what happens if your support zone doesn't hold early in the day? Is that it for trading till the next day? No, there's a whole other tool set that's available. And so no, you're not just, like looking over here, if you can see my mouse, if this sell-off just went below 2790 area, the support zone for the day, and then just was gone, there would be other opportunities that would develop based on the tools that I've developed. Let's see here. And so no, usually there's multiple opportunities each day, especially lately with the amount of movement we've had. It's been unbelievable. Thank you for this question, Ness. Ness, you asked, can your tool set be used on stocks? Yes, absolutely. Yes, it can. And it's awesome, if I may say. I just did. Let's see here. Charlie, that question looks like something for your broker. It looks like you're asking how much per contract. Raymond, good. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Jesse, you've asked, are the support and resistance lines there at the start of the day, prior to the price action of the day? It's there right after the open. It broadcasts automatically right at the open. These zones, the EdgeMinder zones, do not move during the day. Michael, you asked, and thanks again for the question. Will the zones, the support and resistance, will those move at all during the day as order flow changes? These zones do not, but I have additional zones that will appear or go away depending on how things develop. I know it sounds kind of elusive, but it's not. It's very much in line with seeing your mark, recognizing, is the market at a price that presents an opportunity to me? Just like if you own a car dealership, someone wants to trade in their car. Paying too much for a car is no way to make money. You have to buy it smart. That's where you make your money, is when you buy it. And so it's very similar with trading. If you want to get a short trade, sell it where it's overpriced. Sell it where at a time where it's just about ready to give in. And that's the idea behind all the processes I've built, is recognizing first, is this an area that the market where it's out of line from the current mood and structure? Secondly, is now the time? Should I start to take on the risk now, or should I take on my risk, or should I wait? Should I let something else develop? And I have tools to tell you those something else's so that you're able to recognize the timing. Let's see. Craig, you ask an interesting question, and you say, if I'm working full-time at my day job, I'm not trading, just working full-time elsewhere, can this be set up to use in the evening? Yes, it can. That's the quick answer. I have some super traders, some current subscribers, and they trade overnight. They trade in the Asia session. They trade in the European. I got an email from him, I think more than once, where he said, hey, I made money in my sleep last night. And that was always kind of a dream of his. It's also, I remember it well because it's also a dream of mine where I remember my dad telling me, this guy makes money in his sleep. He'd read me some article in the New York Times, and I'd sit there and listen, and he'd say, wow, look at this guy, he's really smart, he's making money in his sleep. And I remember thinking as a young boy, that's for me. I want to pull that off someday. And I have. There are numerous instances where I have set my levels, set my zones, given the instructions to the algorithm to trade you later that says, here's the most I'm willing to risk, here's where I want to take my profit, and left it, and then come back and had a trade, as have some of the Trading Supra users that do that. So Craig, yes, you can. And so Raj, good question. The zones will reset. So if you trade the European session, the zones will be different than the US session. Michael, you asked, do we have to figure out our own stops? No, I do have a system in place for that as well. I just didn't cover it in today's webinar, but if you want more information on that, the quick answer is yes, all of the stops and the profit taking, there are systems built out for that already. Raymond, you ask, you've demonstrated the ES. Why do you like the ES? And can you give short opinions on other markets, please? I like the ES because it's very, very liquid, mainly. You can get fills, and it moves nicely for the most part. Do you have other opinions on other markets? Not really. I mean, I've traded cocoa futures, and that can be both an instantly rewarding experience and an instantly harsh losing experience because there can be a lot of slippage in that. I've traded silver. That's another one that's like Quicksilver, it's just gone. I've had great trades and terrible, like one of my worst trades ever was in silver futures. But as a general rule, besides a few, and also orange juice, almost my best trade that turned into my worst decision, one of them was in orange juice futures. And so those three, I say, are the ones that are thin enough and fast enough that can really either make you rich really fast or rip your face off. But besides that, I view them all from a structural standpoint and from an order flow standpoint. And so it really kind of levels all those markets out, and it really doesn't matter to me if all I could trade was grains tomorrow, I could still completely be fine. If all I traded was stocks, I could find all kinds of opportunities and never look at futures again. So I don't really have too many favorites in that way. Bill, you can also use it with range bars. Yes, that's correct. John, I don't understand 12. I don't understand that symbol. I don't know. I don't speak that. I don't know. Jose, you ask, is this automated? It is semi-automated. You can tell it exactly what you want it to do. And once you enable it, then it becomes automatic. But you have a lot of control off of that. Craig, my pleasure. Thank you for attending. With futures, the support and resistance zones, the edge binder zones, they start at the open and they end at the close. Ness, you ask, in terms of risk management, can I define my position size by percent or fixed dollar amount? Question mark. You can, but you have to translate that into a quantity and then enter that quantity into TradeYouLater. TradeYouLater only accepts quantities. John, you ask, how about live trade room sessions demonstration? A live trade room is included with the tools. Phil, you ask, hey, Phil, I've talked to you before. Can you effectively use other than time-based bars such as range bars? Yes, you can. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And I think our time is just about used, but hopefully it's been used well. Hopefully you can see that there's a lot that goes into a consistently profitable operation. And hopefully, if you want to reach me, oop, wrong screen, of course, just one more dad moment there. Okay, if you want to reach me, Jesse, end at the close of the futures market trading. Yeah, the levels end at the close of the session. Yes. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming along for this chat today. And hopefully I've answered your questions. They've been good. And hopefully I didn't miss them. If you have questions that just weren't covered, you can reach me at any of those, either just real phone number, just pick up the phone and call me, email. Okay, Sergio, let's talk. Stefan, my friend, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everyone, thank you. And I think I should, at this point, I guess I'll wait because I'm not the host. So Tiffany, whenever you want, this is yours, of course. And Richard, yes, there is an offer. And if you want to see more about the offer, that's the quickest answer at this point because it is soon to be Tiffany's time to take over here. And so I will quiet down. Aditya, thank you. Hey, it's been a while. Hopefully you've been well. Let's talk soon, Aditya.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jared. I would like to give a special thank you again to Jared Putnam of Trading Supra for a great presentation. Everyone in attendance here today will receive an on-demand recording of today's event, so just keep an eye open for that email. NinjaTrader ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. So if you find value in these events, we hope you will attend them on a regular basis. We'd like to remind you the information provided in this was of Trading Supra and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us at NinjaTrader ecosystem. And again, thank you so much, Jared.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.